This is allegedly in Alberta, powered by Streamlabs Talk Studio with the Alberta Indigenous Alliance.
Why, at this point, would I be concerned? And we talk about the media manipulation, right? An unarmed man who was punched, tackled by officers, and ended dead on the floor of the Carriage House Hotel and Conference Center on McLeod Trail in Calgary just before 1 a.m. on September 17th, 2024. And this was an article from the 25th, so 8 days after the death of Jon Wells. Sept come out with an article describing the details. So they say police were responding to an investigation and officers' use of force in the incident, which happened after police were called via a non-emergency line to the Carriage House Hotel and Conference Center on McLeod Trail just before 1 a.m. They were responding to reports of a man causing a disturbance and refusing to leave the hotel. Sept said the interaction between the man and the first officer at the hotel was caught on body-worn camera. The man was standing with his hands in full view and without any weapons when the officer arrived and ordered the man to leave, Sept said. The officer then pointed a stun gun at the man after 30 seconds of speaking with him, while the man reacted in confused ways to the order to leave. Sept reported the man raised his hands and confirmed he would leave, asking the officer not to shoot him. And while he began to leave the lobby, he told the officer, "I don't want to die." The officer with his weapon still pointed at the man told him to stop talking. So you have an individual who's currently in distress telling the officer, "I don't want to die." See something wrong with this? It goes on. After two more Calgary Police Service officers arrived on the scene, the man stopped walking while continuing to state he didn't want to die. The first officer holstered his weapon and attempted to grab him. Sept noted by this point the man had not been identified by police or told he was detained or under arrest. So you have an individual who is being accosted by police, who's not being detained or under arrest, but is being held at taser point, who's currently in distress, and the police officer thinks it's a good idea to point a taser at him. The man resisted being grabbed before he was tackled by another officer, who punched him in the head. Sept said, during this time, the other two officers deployed their stun guns. Officers resorted to various uses of force during a physical struggle that lasted approximately 3.5 minutes, Sept said, before the man was detained on the floor using handcuffs and leg restraints. So we go from "I don't want to die" to two more officers coming in and escalating the process, tackling him down, punching him in the head, handcuffing him, and leg restraints, to a man who's in medical and mental distress. Numerous other CPS officers then arrived on the scene. So 3 people couldn't take this guy and bring him in peacefully. Like we're told that the police officers are peace officers, but these individuals, 3 of them, couldn't take this individual into custody peacefully, even though they still didn't say he was arrested or detained. So this poor man, who we find out is Jon Wells, is beaten to the ground, tackled to the ground, and then basically hogtied on the ground. So the new officers, adding that the man was bleeding from the mouth and vomiting at this point. A spit mask was put on the man, and EMS administered a sedative while he was laying face down on the floor approximately 7 minutes after he'd been handcuffed. The man was left face down in restraints for another 3 minutes before he was noticed to be unresponsive. ACERT said medical care is provided, but he was declared dead at the scene. CBC News confirmed the man who died with Calgary police altercation was Jon Wells, 42-year-old of the Blood Tribe in Alberta. Wells was a successful rodeo competitor and actively contributed to his community in his work with the Blood Tribe Ag Society.
His kind words to us. He was a godfather to my daughter, and the encouragement he gave to not just her but to everybody, all the youth, all the girls and boys who are in the daughter, and so I'll remember John's smile, his kind words to us. He was a godfather to my daughter, and the encouragement he gave to not just her but to everybody, all the youth, all the girls and boys who are in the rodeo sport. He had this contagious smile that can just make you smile when you're having a hard day. You see John, and he was so lovable, so handsome, and that's what I'm going to remember him by. We want justice. We want justice for John. And we're not going to stop until we do. So this could be an annual thing that we want to do, and not just, for justice. We want to, for all those Indigenous men who've gone at the hands of police. We want justice for all of them. So we have so much emotions going through us, the family. We have sorrow, grief, loneliness, just wanting John to be here. And then knowing and thinking, what was going through his mind? He must have been so scared. So on this day especially, it's surreal. It shouldn't even be happening. Unfortunately, it is. And again, we want to continue this, to seek justice and to support all Indigenous people.
Wells was at least the 7th Indigenous person to die after a police altercation in Canada in less than 3 weeks, from August 29th to September 17th. In Alberta alone, Wells' death follows an incident where Haas Lightning, 15 years old, from the Samson Cree Nation, was shot by RCMP in Wetaskiwin at the end of August. ACERT Executive Director Michael Ewenson says, body cameras worn by Calgary police officers at the scene led to ACERT releasing more details about the investigation just a little more than a week after it occurred. Due to the presence of body-worn cameras worn by the Calgary Police Service, we are able to verify facts much earlier in an investigation, Ewenson said via email. In numerous cases, this has led us to be able to clear officers more efficiently. There you are, folks. That is the goal of ACERT, is to clear the officers of any wrongdoing efficiently. You go through ACERT's files from October of 2024 to September 2025. There is no resolution in this case. There's been no final investigation by ACERT. We just have one dead Indigenous man in the Carriage House Hotel, laying on the ground, bled and puked to death, laying on the ground, dying while being handcuffed and leg restrained. And officers not noticing until he looked like he was unresponsive due to the sedation that they gave him. There's animals that are treated better than this individual. When animals are sedated in a veterinary clinic, they're watched more closely than Jon Wells was that night. Police Watchdog, which investigates whenever someone dies during a police interaction in Alberta, said no additional information about the case will be released as the agency conducts its probe. And again, like I said, the probe continues. Tomorrow will be 1 year exactly. So at 1 a.m. later tonight, which is tomorrow, it'll be 1 year exactly that Jon Wells died from police brutality and negligence in the Carriage House Hotel. And yes, it is the same Carriage House Hotel that the Alberta Resistance used for their first meeting. So, I don't know about you, but while everyone is doing vigils for Charlie fucking Kirk, how many people showed up to give their thoughts and prayers and their great Christian values to Jon Wells, who lost his life due to an incompetence of the Calgary Police Service? So why, if you're talking about we shouldn't have death, that violence is such a tragedy that someone died violently, why the fuck are you not supporting the Indigenous people that are dying violently on a daily fucking basis? So if you're Christian and you believe in the safety of citizens and the rights of every citizen, other than racism and bigotry, give me one good fucking reason why you ignore the deaths of Indigenous people. You can talk about Charlie Kirk till you fucking blue in the face, but unless you come out and show the same goddamn respect for Jon Wells and other Indigenous peoples that have lost their lives due to police brutality or murder, your words mean nothing. Your words are hollow. Your values are hollow. So don't give me any of this shit about we have to support Charlie Kirk because he was a great man. I don't fucking care. Jon Wells was a great man. Where the fuck are the flowers for Jon Wells? Where the fuck is the support for Samuel Byrd? No, you want to talk about an American. You want to talk about a fucking American hero to the right. Well, you have the right to talk about it, but I have the right to not fucking listen. And I have the right to not fucking support you. Because that's my right and freedom. And that's the right and freedom of every fucking person in this province, in this country, in the fucking world. You are not going to bully people to support a known white supremacist. You're not going to bully people to support the MAGA fucking movement. Your bullshit and your threats and your anger and your fucking cancel culture that you fucking cry about when it's given to you in consequence culture, that time is fucking up now. Enough is enough. We're not going to listen to your rhetoric anymore. And this doesn't just mean the fucking from the right. This also means from the center. I don't give a shit what you think about you being a Democrat, you being an NDP, you being whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Every politician is garbage. Party politics are performative and as useful as thoughts and prayers. You have the right to say, go whatever you want to say. I don't care. But you do not have the right to push your fucking agenda on society because that's what you believe. That is the absolute definition of not giving someone their rights. So you all yell, scream, complain, whine, bitch, moan about rights and freedoms. You want to go rights and freedoms? We have the right to not listen to whatever the fuck you have to say. Just like you have the right to not listen to what I have to say. That's called your right. But I have the right to free speech where I can use the speech if it's not affecting someone's livelihood, if it's not directly hurting someone. I have the right to say what I want. That's the freedom of speech. You have the right to say whatever you want, but know that there's consequences for your speech if your speech is coming from hate. So freedom of speech and freedom of hate speech are two different things. And that's where we're sitting right now. So when you're talking about the vigils for Charlie fucking Kirk and how we all have to come together, look what's going on in your own communities first. If you want to come in and be like Jesus, Jesus would never support capitalism, like I said earlier. Jesus would look at you and say, why the fuck are you not flipping tables? Because that's what Jesus did. When Jesus saw something that wasn't right or something that was not fair, he went into the halls. He went into the merchant tables and he flipped the fuckers and said, this is not going to happen. You're not going to rob anyone.
This has been Allegedly in Alberta. Authorized by Alberta Accountability Alliance, abpolica@gmail.com.